Hey friends, welcome back to the Stock Homestead. Today we're going to build one of these, which is a seed starting system with grow lights put together with stuff that you can easily access either through Amazon or your local box store, and a lot more cost effective than building a quote unquote grow light system that's produced by a commercial company. Let's get after it. So this grow rack behind us is one that we have used for the past 3 years, and it has done a fantastic job. Actually, here are some photos that kind of show you the productivity we've had from this simple, relatively inexpensive grow rack. And we've started thousands of seed starts over the course of the past 3 years. So this year we're adding a second rack because we wanted to be able to increase our production to both sell some seed starts at the local farmers market, to give them away to friends, and also to potentially give away to folks who can't afford to go out and buy them at the local nursery. And so we're adding a second one of these, and I figured while we were putting it together, we would show you just what we used, how we did it, and how it all goes together. And at the end, we'll tell you kind of what the total cost of the thing is. It's not like cheap, but it's way more cost effective than buying something pre-built and pre-designed and specially designed for this task, because this is done amazing and it's stuff you can get anywhere. So this rack is the base of it is just a utility rack that I think this one actually came from Lowe's, but the one we got that we're going to be putting together today is it came from Amazon, because I just ordered everything online this time. So these lights came as a set, and I'm going to show you those here in just a moment. These are exactly the same ones that we've used last time. The components are the rack, and then you have the lights, and then you have the timer down here that allows you to turn the things on, turn the things off. So the fourth thing you need is a dedicated place to put this. Some people put them in closets, some people put them in spare bedrooms or in a rec room or a climate controlled basement or a garage or something like that. But thinking about that ahead of time will sort of kind of give you an idea of what size you can accommodate. We're not really stressed about size, and so we did this is 80 something inches tall. The shelves are 18 inches deep and 4 foot wide. And here is our parts to the new rack. I just pulled it out of the box. The box is kind of broken up anyway. But again, this is the same size, 18 inches depth and 48 inches lengthwise. Here are the rest of the pieces and parts and the manual piece. I won't bore you with how all it goes together. I'll just kind of show you the little highlights. So the thing I want to point out about these particular lights is they are 4 foot LED T5 lights, and as you can see from they look exactly like these. This is how they come. They're individual lights that are mounted individually, so you have flexibility and really kind of how you want the width of your thing to set. If you want the lights inboard a little bit, you can do that. I just tried to maximize the light spread to cover all of the width of our pans when they go on the shelf. And so these lights are 20 watt, and they are 6,500 Kelvin. And it has done a fantastic job. There's options for these that are 40 watts, so they're gonna be a lot brighter. But you really gonna want to pay attention to the Kelvin rating on them, because you want full daylight. People say between 5,000 and 7,000. I went with the 6,500 to make sure that we get as much of the spectrum as possible. And so because obviously you don't want the lights on all the time, I just got this inexpensive little timer. It also came from Amazon. And if I didn't have this rack that has 2 spots, I'm just going to daisy chain these together so the lights all come on both racks at the same time. But if you don't already have one, then obviously you'll need a timer, or you don't have to have a timer, but you have to remember to turn the thing off, because you don't want the lights on 24/7. They need to be in a kind of a rhythm of light and dark like they will normally. All right, so what we have to do is we have to cut the wood pieces to mount the lights to. We have to mount then the light systems onto the racks. I won't bore you with talking through all of that. I'll just kind of show you how it all goes together. Maybe a little bit more detail on how we're mounting the lights, but otherwise I'll just do quick time lapse so you can see what we're doing here. All right, so this is when you open the box. This is how these lights come. They have multiple switches lots of different ways to connect them together. We're going to talk a little bit more here in just a moment. And these are the little clips that we're going to use to mount to the wood we were just looking at. So again, these lights come out and they're all, this is a pack, but they're all individual lights. So they're not connected together or anything. It gives you a lot of flexibility in how you put them up. The downside is that there's a whole bunch of work to mounting them because each individual one has to be mounted. But I did want to point out why we got the number of lights that we got. I bought 2 8-packs because it doesn't, on the 6th level rack, the numbers don't work out exactly right. So you end up with a couple little left over, which is fine. You can make another little small rack. But with this 6 rack, it's got actually 6 actual racks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But to do that, I use this measurement right here because of the size of our trays. And I now mount the lights. When I originally built this rack, these lights were mounted on chains that could be dropped down, because the idea was, you know, I wanted to be able to move the lights as the seedlings grew, because obviously this is too much space for new seedlings. They'll just get super leggy. But it was a real aggravation having this move, and it took me a while to figure out, well, dummy, why don't we just attach the lights and then just raise the things up close? So when we first start off, we might have something like this. The seedlings are real close. As they grow, we can drop down, take the 2x6s out, or the whatever scrap wood you have, and just invert a pan. I said raise it up another few inches, and then once they get tall, they can just go right on the rack. It gives you the space that you need. It's super simple. It's way easier than trying to goof around with dropping these lights down. Just throw something underneath of it and raise it to the level it needs to be. All right, so these shelves are 18 inches wide, but the space between the actual post is narrow in that. They're actually 15 inches. And so we cut these boards 15 inches, and we came in a 1/2 inch on each side, and also from the middle, 7.5 in the middle. And then this is where we're going to mark where we're going to put our little brackets for our lights. So those 4's done. I'll leave that as a template. Yeah, it doesn't have to be exact, but I want to get as close as we can. So it's a tiny bit off. I don't believe that the plants are going to care, but if it's not square, it could potentially not fit inside the dealios that we're doing. So that's all lined out. So then we're going to put our brackets that mount the things, mount the lights in each of these spots, and I'll just leave it on and show you how we do that. So here's our little clips, and they provide these little screws as well. So the clips will just go right there on each of the sections. We'll screw those in. And I wish they sent another set of clips so that they could be one on the ends, one in the center, and then one on the other far end, but they don't. So there's only 2 clips per light. But they work out okay. It's not the ideal thing. I'd like to have a couple extra clips, but they do fine. You bump them once in a while, they'll pop out of the clips, but as long as you get used to working around them, it's not a big deal. So we're going to attach all of these clips, and then we're going to drill some holes with auger to receive the zip ties, and then we'll put it together here. All right, cool. So I had a few more of these to do, so this is kind of how they're getting attached. Pretty simple. go easy with those because those little things will spin around, and then they get a little wonky in terms of the angle of them. Just want them where they're just where they're snug. They're really thin metal, so if you can actually run the screw right through them if you're not careful. So now what we want to figure out is we're going to zip tie around these strings of wire, and so we're just going to mark on here kind of where we want our zip ties going, and we'll just put holes on either side so they can zip tie right around. Just 2 sections. We'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be holes, holes, then holes and holes. So pretty simple. So I'm just going to mark those holes and we'll kind of show you where we ended up. So once we've zip tied these on here, then all we've got to do is just snap our lights into our little brackets. Sometimes these little things, they're really flimsy. Sometimes they get bent and you just have to bend them back into place and then snap them in. But when we mount the wood to right to the shelf, then it's already set in place and we just snap these lights in and they're ready to go. So this whole thing just becomes a unit that's done, ready to go when we start putting the thing together. This is a lot easier, a lot quicker than what I did when I did that one. So this is kind of a new way we're putting this together. So the next part of this is really just putting together the poles of the wrap. So this has, that's the leveling feet. And so what happens with these is if you're not going to put the casters on here, which we actually are going to put the casters on here. But if you weren't going to put the casters on here and you're just going to, those are the feet to keep the thing leveled. But we are going to take these out and we're going to put these in on all 4 of them because we want this rolling around the concrete shop floor and being able to roll it out the door into the sunshine when it's time to start hardening off plants. And so we got one with the casters on purpose. And so therefore we're going to put those on real quick. So we'll find all the ones with the casters. That doesn't have one, so that's a top. So these are multiple, each one of these things are potentially different. You have these are the connectors that actually, when these screw together. So you'll have those that have a closed end, those are the very top. And then you have one with the things that comes out with the casters. There's another top. There should be 4 of each kind. So that's a top. And that one is an open end that screws to that one. And it also has the foot that comes off. So there's 4 of each kind. So let's just bust these out. We'll get to put these casters on and we'll just throw this together. Want to tighten these up, it comes with a tool that allows you to tighten those casters into the bottom. So being they made the effort to send the tool, I'll go ahead and use it just for, so all of that is extra over here. All right, now these fun little things, they mate together. You can see them, they fit together like this, and they're tapered. So they have when they fit together like that, they kind of create a wedge that this little bit on the, this part right here on the thing, this ends up fitting inside. So what we're gonna do is they've got these little indentation marks and little indicator marks that allows us to be able to measure. And so we're going to put this down basically in this bottom spot on both of these, on all 4 of these. So these just go in there like that, and then you can feel them, and they kind of sit in that little spot. So that one's going to make down. There we go. That's that very bottom. So you put them together like that, and then you kind of slide them, and you feel them lock in place. And so we're going to put them all in this very bottom groove right there. Of course, that's what I'm choosing to do because that's how I want my spacing. So, because this is what the shelves sit on, so obviously they have to match all the way across so your shelf sits level. But if you want different spacing on your shelves, you can certainly put them whatever spacing or elevation you want to. All right, now that we have the casters all on and the wedges are in place where we want them, make sure they're all tight. I took these back off because it's much easier to put that first shelf on when we just have these things. So we'll reattach those momentarily. But the first thing we're gonna do is drop the shelf on. Again, verify, make sure all these are in the same elevation so your bottom shelf sits good and flat. And then you have a constant place to be able to measure from as you go to set the rest of your shelves. All right. Cool. Now, the next thing is just to verify where we want our height to be between these shelves. And so, as you might be able to see, as I showed earlier, there's little indentations. So there's the first mark. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is basically set in the where it's matching the 11th. So each one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they're evenly spaced, 11 spots up the sides of the pole. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start setting these in one at a time and just keep this whole section moving up, and then we'll look how we attach everything. All right, so the new dealio is all assembled. This absolutely is the better way to do it. Mounting everything on the shelves before putting the rack together, way easier than the way we did it before. So really, this is all together. I'm thinking about time, just kind of give you an idea of the time that it took to do this. Of course, recording always takes, adds time to the thing, but it's been 4 hours, I think, between all of this. The next thing is really just working on the lighting. Now, these kits come with a whole bunch of switches. And there's also, because these are made for like, garages and things like that, there's the thing to be able to hardwire things in, and there's switches to be able to switch them on and off. They're made to be very versatile kits. But all I really use on these are these. These are the leads on these connectors. And let's look at the original one we have. So all of these, the beauty of this system is, even though it's a little bit of work to put all this together, what this allows you to do is like, this is a perfect example. This one is disconnected, right? So that means that those upper 2 banks are not working. As most people know, if you start seeds, they don't all finish at the same time. You don't necessarily start at the same time. So you don't want to run all the lights all the time if you don't have to. So what this system does is it allows you to, like this one is just unplugged from some spot down here, and it'll get plugged in. And so right now this is set up so these top 2 tiers won't light, and then the rest of the new. You can set it up so that all of them come on with the timer, and then as you don't need the ones coming, you can just reach up and unplug it, and it'll take a whole bank off. So that's really that's how we're going to wire this one up, and I'll kind of show you how it all goes together, and then we'll turn them on at the end, and these will just gang together. Right, these will just gang, this cord will go over here and go into this side. I won't use any of the switches. Those will just go in our bin upstairs with all, we just accumulate things, and when we need it, we've got it. And so those switches and those extra cords and stuff will just go in a bin in our stuff with our electrical stuff. And then all of these, all of the lights will be connected with, you know, with the individual cords. So that's how we built the grow rack. We're gonna jump on the computer real quick. I'm gonna show you the things that we bought and do a quick total of what this whole thing cost. Just the scrap, the wood that we used, it was just scrap that I had sitting around. So I'm sure most people who are watching this probably have some scrap wood laying around. It was just one by material. You can use plywood, you can use basically anything that you have around. So besides the scrap lumber, then you have the rack itself, you have the lights, and then like a pack of zip ties. That's pretty much all there is to it. So let's hop in and see what this total thing came out to. All right, so this is the rack that we use, and you can see $100, $106 for the rack, and then our lights. And see, we had 2 packs of those because we had basically 16 and we needed 15 lights. And so we have 1 left over. And those sets were 52 a piece. So 104 plus 106, so $200. And of course the timer that I got is this BN Link 7-day, and it was 13 bucks. So rack, lights, timer, and a pack of zip ties, no more than $225 for this 5-shelf grow rack. So there you go, with a little over $200 in materials, some scrap lumber, 5 or 6 hours of time, you can have an 18 by 48 5-shelf grow rack with full spectrum lights. You can start your seed starting this year. Thanks for checking out the Stock Homestead. Like and subscribe if you can, it helps out the channel. And remember, grow regardless.